Hey, this is the Antisocial Socialite back at it again. Shout out to all the wonderful new subscribers and returning friends. Welcome. If you are new to the channel, you have not yet subscribed. What are you waiting for, darling? Hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell. So when I get to running this mouth, baby, you are in the loop. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I see the house is already packed. What the funk, Celine, Friedman's Journal. How are you guys doing? It's great to see you in the building. This is going to be a short video. I wanted to kind of weigh in on the Courtney Michelle, Chantel Simone back and forth because and Celine said the sound is good, which is funny because I can't hear anything. I think I need to change the headphones, which is problematic because I don't know where I can find another set of headphones right now. Um so uh, I'm not really going to touch on it too much. I've already kind of said my piece. I was on the Dukes panel last night. If you haven't seen that video, check out my community tab. I may try and drop the link in the description box later on so you guys can go and check out that back and forth. He's a British content creator and he was talking about females in the Black manosphere. And obviously there was a lot of controversy recently with Just Pearly going on the Lapeef network and the things that were said and how the game was played. And I know a number of people have discussed this. Shout out to the Breakdown, A Woman's Perspective. I really enjoyed their their perspective on that situation. We were talking about how sad it is that women from other races are coming into the Black manosphere. Women are having to come in and kind of uh I don't want to say save the day, but it's like a lot of brothers don't support brothers as much as they could. But when women come in, um, they get a lot of support very quickly. We were talking about why Pearly gets support. Um, Shout out to Orenda Fillmore. Great, good morning. I'm a new subscriber. Glad to be present. I'm glad you're here as well. We love new subscribers. So if you are new and you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. And we need to give you a little welcome. I can't hear it, so I have to wait for it to stop. And so shout out to the Duke. He was talking about how, this is a grassroots channel. It's low budget, this is cheap and cheerful, just like me. Okay, I'm not really that cheerful, but okay, we'll just go with cheap. And so there isn't a lot of time and effort really being put into this. I'm just giving my thoughts. We're having a bit of dialogue, and then we're all going on about our day. I haven't got Just Pearly's budget or Pearl's budget. Allegedly, she's working with some real money. She's got that shmoney, and she doesn't have a problem to get hundreds of pounds and dollars worth of mics and amps and studios and everything, and good luck to her. Shout out to What the Funk. He said she is making it way more professional than most people are. Exactly. So, on the one hand, you can't really be upset with Just Pearly or Pearl, because at the end of the day, she invested in her product and it's paying back. So we were going back and forth. I'll give my take on the Pearl situation. I said this last night, and I've said it in other places. Pearl is, for me, Pearl is not saying anything original. Pearl is not saying anything that hasn't been heard before. But I personally feel that Pearl sees an opportunity where it's much easier for her to get a following. And I know people say, oh, you're playing the race card, but I do think Pearl finds it easier to get a following as a white woman talking to Black men, because a lot of Black men are starved of compassion. They're starved of feeling understood. They're starved of feeling represented. And so it's like she can come and say the same things, and it's like at least she's representing us. So I feel good about that aspect. Because Pearl is rehashing a lot of topics that have been thoroughly exhausted by other content creators years ago. So I'm not hating on Pearl, but I don't personally learn anything from Pearl's content. The little that I've seen, and what's interesting is the fact that she gets people who are members of the public. Some of them are content creators. We've recognized them before. I know recently she had King Riches on her podcast. I know there was another black brother from the UK. I've even seen him on the TV, so I know he's not just any old Joe Schmo. These guys, they come on this podcast and they debate the same things we already know. But for people who haven't seen that stuff before, it is an eye opener. And I will say I'm happy to have it's good to have more people on the side of what's right and true. So if she's got a big platform and it's doing very well, salute to her, kudos to her, because we want a positive message to get out there. And the positive message is the truth. The truth is we have some problems. Okay. I'm not a massive fan of other races being in black people's business, but at the same time, if that's the only way black people will listen, we can't stop people from creating podcasts. We just can't, because YouTube is a business. We don't own the platform, and all they care about is making money. So whoever's popping at the time, they're going to promote those people. So George Golden says, howdy, and chat, happy Black History Month to those who are in the UK. Yes, October is Black History Month. I don't know how good the stuff on TV is going to be. Sometimes it's very questionable what they put on, what kind of agenda they're trying to push. I haven't actually watched a lot of television this month, and we're already like 2/3 of the way through, but I don't know. So I don't know what Black History Month has really offered here in the UK, to be honest. And I wasn't really that interested. But, I've seen a few commercials and I wasn't too impressed. I'm somewhat busy, but going back and forth, however, still listening. Shout out to you. She is one of the most likely to blow up. Well, she has blown up because she has over 500,000 subs already. So she's already doing really well. And as the Duke said, I'm going to reiterate what he said. Being white, people who are white will identify with her, or people who are not black, even though she seems to me to talk a lot to black people, and she has a lot of black guests. The fact that she's a host who is white, she's going to get people from all walks of life. Whereas when you have a black content creator and a lot of black people in the audience, people who are guests, people automatically assume this is not a space for anybody other than black people. And that kind of brings me to the whole thing with Lapeef Network, which was, a ish show if ever we saw one. Okay. And I'm not going to say too much about it, but, it was a shame to see black women have circles run around them. Okay. Circles will run around those black women because black women don't listen. Okay. Black women don't pay attention to what their men are saying. Pearl just gave the right answer because she already had the answers to the test. Okay. Even if Pearl or the other non-black women, Carmel and Coach K, even if these individuals don't believe what they're saying, they know how to play the game when they're in public. And it's really a shame that B. Taylor and the other black women on the panel didn't just catch the rake. Lapeef always has drama when a different race shows up. And that's exactly why they brought non-black women on the panel, because they know black people get triggered when they see non-black people on the panel. But it's like, by now, B. Taylor and all the other women who come on the panel, you're supposed to know what the questions are. You're supposed to know what the answer's going to be. And there was a question that really grind my gears. I didn't really see anybody comment on that, but There was a question about dating multiple people. Now, this is going to get me cancelled more than it's already probably got me cancelled. And I said this last night again on the Dukes panel. And this thing has been kind of churning around inside me. So I eventually knew I was going to just talk on it, right? The question was, is it okay, or how would you feel as a dude if like, if is it okay for women to date multiple guys? And I've said this before, so I'm going to say it again, right? I don't have an issue with people dating multiple people, men or women. The problem is people don't date. Okay? People are calling everything except dating dating. They're not asking the right questions. They're not, investigating the person's background. They're not investigating the person's family. It doesn't matter whether the person is talking to multiple people, especially in the initial stages, like you've just met the person. Okay, you may be considering another person. Shout out to George. No big issue dating multiple people. Having sex with multiple people is a different thing altogether. So people, whether they're dating one person or alleged multiple people, a lot of people are not dating. And this is where, I shook my head, I hung it in shame. B. Taylor immediately started talking about a rotation like she's a dude. And I was like, why can't you see that that wasn't the question you were asked? Oh, because you don't date. You kind of play a game and then you're running around in a circle wondering why you're getting confused. Okay, because she starts talking about, I got a dude for this food, I've got a dude to take me here, and then maybe I'm sleeping with this one. And I was like, why can you not see what you're saying just makes you look terrible? And everyone commented how like B. Taylor and the other black girls were just laughing and kikiing about how funny it is, to have all these dudes on rotation. And then, Pearl comes with the, oh, I think it's okay if we have one man and blah, blah, blah. And, and if we're not guys and guys can have multiple women, which we know Pearl probably wouldn't deal with. Okay, Pearl probably would not be cool being the main chick and other women her man has on the side. I just don't believe that. Most women are not cool with that, especially, I don't know. I just, shout out to V-Dub Boogie, shout out to Dimitri in the building. I just can't see that. I can't see it. As much as I'm not of the mindset, men just need to sow their royal oats forever. I just don't believe that. A lot of dudes are monogamous. A lot of men want one woman. Shout out to Corrine in the building. Hello, here to support my British sister. Yes, girl. It's good to see you in the building. It's Corrine, not Karen. I hope you're not a Karen. Those Karens be wild. But yeah, Celine said, I'm down with polygyny as long as the guy is taking care of me. I've never been in a polygynous situation, but I have considered it years ago. I don't believe that a lot of people really practice polygyny. A lot of people think having women and kids scattered here, there, and everywhere is polygyny. I don't think that's polygyny. I think if you're going to do polygyny, everybody needs to be under the same roof, or at least on the same plot, like in the same compound. Like we all know who's half sibling with who's sister wife with who. Everybody knows what's going on. It's not a case of, oh, I've got a brother or a sister in another country or on the other side of town, and we're calling that polygyny. I just, that's rubbish. The Vida Boogie says polygyny ain't got everybody. Okay, and Dimitri said, but Auntie, why did they choose B. Taylor to smoke? They were smoking that B. Taylor pack that night. You see, this is the thing. They have the black woman on there sometimes, right? Not always. I'm not going to say always, but they're kind of no different to Fresh and Fit. They're no different to Kevin Samuels, really. where you bring these women up and they embarrass themselves, okay? Because we all know that there's no equivalent. Let me backtrack. There's an equivalent to a pearl, like Chantel Simone or a Danica Marie. Even though, I'm not going to go too deep with Danica Marie, but Danica Marie's got some friends that I'm not really keen on, and so I don't really bother with either of them. But for the sake of argument, you can bring up six who I'm not keen on at all, and then you could have brought Danica, who actually could have countered, who's the equivalent of a pearl. You see, it's not that white women are more logical per se. It's just white women listen and they give the right answer when they have to. I know Crimson Cure has been on Lapeef, but she probably couldn't take the foolishness because I think it's a lot of petty stuff going on over there. So they bring these women up to basically embarrass themselves. We know that the black women that they bring are not going to give the right answer. When asked the question, they're going to answer the question in a stupid manner. We know this already, because apart from Courtney, who had a modicum of sense, which we will get to in a minute, Kay has always been confused. And a lot of the black women I see on there are just feisty, and they're not really making a lot of sense. I just have disdain for Lapeef Network. Everybody knows that. If you don't know that, you know that now. I find the whole thing so contrived. I can't really watch it. And as I said before, and I've said so many times, I don't like the fact that they feed off the manosphere while disrespecting the manosphere. And I get it. A lot of people doing that now. Hafiz from the Roommates, MTR, dissociating from the manosphere because it's got a taint. It's got a dirty name attached to it. Oh, it's a hate group. It's these men hate women, they're women bashers, they're misogynists, and they've got all these phobias attached to them. I understand, but the reality is, stand up for the truth and say, no, I'm not misogynistic, but are the laws bad? Do people take advantage? Stand up for the truth. Don't let these liberals kind of just push you around and say we need to silence you, because a lot of people know the truth. They know the laws are bad. They know the society is favoring women and it's destroying everybody, even women themselves. But Dimitri said I watch for Mr. Logic, but Mr. Logic, he's a bit of a flip-flopper. I find him somebody who's a bit petty. He's a bit hyperactive, which is rich coming from me. Shout out to Karine. She said, I agree. I agree. Should be on the same compound or black here in the US, or back here in the US, and men need to be present in all their children's lives. I can't really read because I can't see so well out of like one of my eyes, but and it's really small. I don't know why it's so small, but yeah, maybe it would help if I put these things on the screen, right? There you are. I agree. Should be on the same compound or block here in the US, and the man needs to be present in all his children's lives. And this is one of the reasons why I don't really support a lot of this whole, we do polygyny, because, children benefit from a mediocre father being present every day than maybe an exceptional father like Nick Cannon, who's only present part-time. Their studies have shown this. Even to average parents, it does go a long way. And just consistently seeing both your parents every day, it does make a difference. So a lot of these talking points, I can't really get with it, but it is what it is. Celine said she doesn't fancy Lapeef either. It's just too much for me. Too much gossiping. Too many grown men just bickering, and I'm not really learning anything. Is there another lady arguing with people better than her? I'm not sure who the her is. I'm assuming you're talking about Pearl. Yeah, but he's funny sometimes, and he's comedic relief. Okay, I'll give you that. That's what she said. Agreed. It's not sustainable. You know. Um, will you drop the link before the end? I wasn't gonna drop the link, but seeing as you asked so nicely, it's you've got like 15 minutes. I gotta go be great. Which is code for get ready and go work. It's good to see new people in the house. If you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. Um, Obviously share the video with somebody who needs to see it. Give it a big thumbs up. I think I just said that. Subscribe. I think that's the other thing I'm supposed to tell you to do. Where are we? Celine said, I like Chris Williamson. He's from England. He does very intellectually stimulating conversations. Okay. Let's have a quickie. Yes, please. I don't know why I'm so excited about that. So while What the Funk is coming up. So what was I going to say? So let's go to Courtney quickly, and just get it out the way. Why is Courtney getting the pushback? She was the voice of reason on Lapeef when you compare her to a Kay. Okay. Kay doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. It's a shame that she's a teacher. Somebody's leaving her with their kids. I don't know who that person is, but I don't know whose head needs checking more. But okay, whatever. The liberal institutions are crazy, period. But Courtney lives in a world of fantasy. And the more she kind of talks is the more she kind of is going to come under scrutiny. This is why I don't really like people who are like, I am just here to I don't know if you know your camera's on. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if she I think this is what happens when people try to have original conversations, but sometimes you try too hard and it just doesn't go well. Because Courtney's view of life, she reminds me of like Martin Luther King down the road, She's talking like 20 years down the line when a lot of people's attitudes have hopefully changed. And I can't hear. Oh no. I've got problems now. I might have to take the mic out. What she's saying overall is not bad. Give me 1 second, what the funk, because I can't hear you, so I've got to change the
I haven't
headphones
said
over.
anything, so no problem.
What she's saying, I hope you're not saying anything rude. I'm going to mute you because I can't hear you to control you. She sure, thank you. We are due to do a live together. What's it called? Let me unmute you. So Courtney is talking like, she doesn't see the issues with Black women, that she doesn't see how Black women utilize the system against their own men and against themselves, and how the whole progress of the Black community is kind of undermined because people outside the Black community can come in and just do what they want. So it becomes frustrating trying to explain this to Courtney because she refuses to see that aspect. And that's why she got into such a big beef and kerfuffle with Chantel Simone, because Chantel is talking about what's happening in the present. And at the present, today, what is it? October 20th, 2022. Right. A man who is ready to be a husband today, he hasn't got time to go to IKEA and get a flat pack female. Okay, a woman he's got to put together and screw her together and hold her up and fix her and do all that garbage. He needs a ready-made piece of furniture, a woman that's good to go right out the box. Okay. And so in the West, the women have a lot of issues. The women have a lot of unresolved trauma, and that's not their fault per se. But You know,
Okay.
the men who
It
a
kind of
woman
is.
just has to be pretty. A woman has to maintain her innocence and her virtue to an extent, and not waste her time. Okay, a man actually has to invest in himself to become something. You know, I'm gonna let What the Funk get in here. I'm gonna take these out so I can.
You ready, or can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. The one thing I wanted to say is that I think if you want to find the middle ground, as a man, let's say during the pandemic when all this still before Kevin Samuels blows up and blah blah blah, if that whole thing had happened and the conversations had been not arguments with black women, and they understood a lot of the points that the men were trying to make, then I think that a lot of the men that Courtney's talking about would give her more grace about it and be willing to maybe save this community. But what happened was, and this wasn't just black women, it was modern women pretty much, like just most modern women from the West with the child support system and the court system behind them. I think that most of them just don't want to let it go. And as men have seen, as someone who's maybe more well spoken than us, maybe more articulate than we are, and he would logically try to have these conversations with our women, and it was like speaking to a brick wall, and not just
Hmm.
speaking to a brick wall, but a brick wall that wants to attack you. So when we saw these women celebrating that he was dead, it was like, well, shit, this community doesn't, they don't want to save any of the, not the unswaggy black people, the black people who are just making it, who are average, who are living their life and just trying to enjoy what's, life will possibly give them. No, Courtney has this strange idea like we're supposed to come back and fight our own more swaggy black people who have more clout in the community from the black women, and she wants us to come and save that community. Fuck that community, because that community is being paid by the police to kill people like us who are trying to be productive. No, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the amount of people I've heard say uh the reaction to Kevin Samuel's death was what tipped them over the edge is crazy. I can't believe how many people have said that was the turning point for them. But you know, they these are guys who probably are new to the space. So they
Yeah,
don't remember when Kobe died and they did the same thing.
yeah,
Like that man
yeah,
literally
the
was a
Kobe thing
cold in
we
the
get.
ground.
Yeah, but like honestly, I don't think a lot of even men have even spoken about it. Like there's men who had positive, not interactions, but like got positive outcomes because of watching and listening to Kevin Samuels. And
Hmm.
if ladies, fine. If you don't agree, you don't agree. But this is someone who passed away, and like it hurt men. Honestly, it hurt
Yeah.
them. And to see women laughing at our hurt was just like, you know what? Y'all don't care about us. And then to see these same women, the same communities celebrating like the idiocracies of some other, I'm not even gonna say their names, but of like the hip
Hmm.
hop and the bullshit, when some like they mourn them, but completely clap someone who was trying to champion average logical thinking about how to possibly improve the community.
So
I don't think
Dimitri
that.
says Courtney
Go
is
ahead.
right. I'm not sure what he thinks Courtney is right about. I
She's right in her
personally,
sentiment, but the,
yeah,
the world is the world is full of sentiments and well wishes that don't actually come true. And I think
the
what
road to
Chantel,
hell,
yeah,
the road to hell is paved with good intention.
right, and I think she's speaking as a mother because she's like, well, I want someone to come pick my daughter. It's like, well, no, make sure you teach your daughter to pick well, and then she wouldn't
Yeah,
have
make
to
your
like have
daughter
these
into
men
the
come and
kind of
save her.
female that a man would want.
Right. We don't need to save the community. We need the community to teach women how to pick better and how to ignore the swag and the
Exactly.
bullshit and start picking some of the geeky people that you see in high school and
That you
building with
call
those
lame.
people. Yes.
Exactly. And this is why I have an issue. And I think a lot of people have an issue. I wouldn't call Courtney a chameleon. Sorry, the audio is probably really bad now because I've had to unplug the mic because I can't
No, we hear
find.
you fine. You're straight.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Um, people don't. I don't think Courtney is a chameleon, but she is. You know, this is
She
a
got
prime
chameleon
example.
tendencies.
Uh,
She got chameleon tendencies.
I don't even. I tell you what it is, right? It's kind of like I did a video on this, the woman in the red dress in the Matrix movie, and when
Yeah.
it's the when Morpheus is walking with Neo through the
Yeah.
streets, and then he says, like, you see all these people, and uh, are you listening to me, or were you distracted by the woman in the red dress? And then Neo
And then
looks
just have
back,
Courtney with her
and
big
she
butt
pulls the
walking
gun
by.
on
Like
him.
that's a perfect analogy.
Yeah,
And
and it's like
it's the same thing that
at
happened with
any
Melanie
moment,
King.
any of these
Yeah.
people could become an agent, because
Right.
until you unplug them from the matrix, they are just going about their daily lives. They don't even realize they're in the matrix. And that makes them a tool to be used by the matrix. So as
And this,
much as we,
but this is why
quote
men
unquote,
like
love
Pearly
them,
Things more, because she's willing to go out and fight and have these conversations with women. Whereas in art, I don't see any of the black women in this space having these kind of conversations with other women who oppose their views, outside of maybe the comfortability of their own computer, or maybe they don't even have, maybe they don't even show their face. But to actually see someone actually go out in public and constantly, you're being bombarded with her challenging women's points, and that's
mm,
why men are like, okay, shit, this is someone who hears our talking points and is willing to challenge other women on those
yeah,
talking points. Because unfortunately, women challenge other women better. And if there's another black woman who's doing even half of what I would say Pearly Things is doing, as far as like making the content and going out and having these conversations with people, like, let me know. But mostly it's like people who just sitting either in their own little studio, or they're sitting in their place. But it's not. I said to Courtney a long time ago, you should be having these kind of conversations to all the black colleges. It should be all these women who are in this space, who are
yeah,
supposedly in the manosphere and understand our points. They should be willing to go take their cameras, go to black universities, and have conversations on ground roots, because that would actually be something that most men would put money behind and support.
they would
But
appreciate. Yeah,
that's why we think that that's
definitely.
why most men think that a lot of the women in the space are chameleons, because they're not even actually arguing logical points against other women. And unfortunately, Pearly Things is the one that's willing to do it. Maybe because
Yeah,
she's six
preaching to the
three,
choir,
maybe because she's
basically.
not scared of other women, maybe also because she's
Mm.
redhead and white, and usually redhead white people have kind of understood a bit more discriminate. Like they kind of get the bullshit too. So that's why I think sometimes I think redhead white people and black people find some kind of strange kinship. And that was my last point. She's a ginger,
Yeah,
so she's
great
one of
point. That
us.
is a great point, because a lot of these female channels, we're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
If you make content, you're going to get an audience that's already conditioned to this stuff. So
Yes.
Dimitri says, that's why Courtney is right. So let me go back, because he put two comments. He said, so leave them for dead is the real solution for Black American children. And then he
No,
said,
teach them to
um,
pick better.
give
Why are we calling that leaving them for dead?
yeah, give me 1 second. And then he
No
said, that's
problem.
what Courtney is right about. Meanwhile, while the adults argue, the children suffer. Shout out to Carl McFarlane, A1 Day One in the house. He said, our prime minister is gone, which is ridiculous, because she only got the job like a few weeks ago, just before the Queen passed away. It doesn't make any sense to blame Liz Truss, really, but all of those politicians are puppets. They don't really have any power, so I don't, I don't know. I just think this whole thing is ridiculous, because it's people behind the scenes pulling the strings. He said, and Pearlie has a lot of brothers. Yeah, so she kind of understands the male plight. Okay, not from I absorbed all this stuff from the manosphere, even though I do think she did listen to a lot of stuff from the Black Manosphere, which is popping. Let's just keep it a buck. I don't know what happened to What the Funk. I didn't drop him, but maybe his connection went out. But let's go back to this. Some people say yes and no. Listen, I I'm not trying to be funny, but yeah, we got to leave these people for dead. We have to. Okay, every community leaves their degenerates, the weak, even animals. Okay, they leave the lame a lot of the time for dead, and that's just part of life. Because the thing is this, with the Black community, what I've noticed is we talk about the community, but the community is like, it's like starting from the top down instead of building the foundation and then going up. You don't build the roof of a house and then come down and then finish with the foundation. If you build the foundation, then you can put a solid structure on the top. The structure or the foundation is individuals doing the work, individuals working on their individuals. I'm going to get to that. Individuals working on their character, as what the funk was saying, individuals talking about their personal choices. You know, shout out to Friedman's Journal. He said, "What community? Go away, go away. Don't ask these types of questions." Okay, so you know, people, you know, Courtney is worried about her daughter having a husband, but Courtney, your daughter only needs one man, and there's a lot of blacks in America. Okay, over here in the UK, we got real reason to be anxious. Okay, because we're a very small population here, and apparently, the interracial dating rate is off the charts here. Allegedly, I didn't think it was that high, but I hear people saying it's around 60% people are dating out. So we've got reason to be anxious about the concept of dudes getting passports and going abroad and dating out. But in America, you have a significantly higher, you know, whole black towns and cities. You know, I know there's might be issues in those cities, but you have at least places where there's a high concentration of black people, and yet you still, you know, guys, have an issue there. And the problem is, as and I wasn't gonna play it, but I might play it. You know, our best friend, the Black Bridget Jones, Ostefco, has recently done a video that She's a Zed was reviewing, talking about how she's in her, I think now she's in her mid to late 30s, you know, unmarried and childless, and how she feels when she goes out and she sees um, people who are her age range, and they've got husbands and wives, or they've got spouses and kids, and she's just looking. And it's like, the reason why you are, and I'm going to get to your point, Dimitri, the reason why, Stefco, you are that age is because when you were young, you were too picky. Okay, you were out here complaining that you weren't pretty, you didn't have pretty privilege, and you couldn't get fluted out. And I've done a couple of videos on Ostefco and why, you know, her self pity has led to this point. And it's like this video. Let me show you this video very quickly. It's only a few minutes, right? Fair use, fair use. I don't know if you guys can see this. So this video says, I don't have a problem getting a man to like me until he finds out my age. Now, this lady does not look 44. Oop, pressed the wrong thing. Oh my God. I certainly pressed the wrong thing. Should we see what she's doing? No, 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 no. Take this off the screen. Take this off the screen. I always get into these problems, right? So that lady, I think she's Asian. And we know Asian people age very strangely. Like, they literally don't age. And then one day they just emerge like a butterfly from a chrysalis, haggard, looking like 600 years old. It's really strange what Asian people do, some of them. But they age very gracefully. Okay, we have to admit that, right? And this lady said, I don't have trouble attracting a man, but when I tell them I'm 44 years of age, these guys lose interest. It's not just about the looks. That chick is 44 years old with, you know, 44 years worth of baggage, 44-year-old reproductive system. What's the chances of her wanting to have multiple children? And what women don't seem to understand or accept is that men who marry predominantly marry because they want children. Okay. So going back to Courtney, when Courtney is talking about come back to American women, a lot of the women, as Chantel pointed out, who actually have a clue and they are talking these talking points, these are women who are post-war, you know, they're coming to the table with a lot of baggage. They haven't been raised to be wives. Even if they have the right attitude, They don't have what the men are looking for in terms of the youth, maybe the fertility or what have you. And so when Courtney is saying save the community, black men, it's not for the men to save the community per se, because the women are the ones who choose which men have get immortalized. The women are the one who choose which men get sexual access, what type of men grow, as what the funk was saying. It's not about the men fixing anything. um Even I know Chantel, Shay Sade is going to do a collaboration with Dr. Tia San Johnson about what women need to do. Really and truly, women don't need to change the law. They don't need to do this or do that. They just need to change their mind and their attitude. That's what we need and needed to do. Steph Cole, shout out to Era Black in the TV, Era Black TV in the house. You know, we don't need to. American women don't talk about love or family. Okay, they don't talk about the things that really matter. They talk about rubbish when they're in their youth and in their prime. And then afterwards, when they hit the wall and everything has gone bad and they tried to be a boss chick and it didn't work for them, then they want to come talk about soft girl era. And the men are not buying it. I'm not saying women abroad are better or that they're perfect. I certainly know that's not true. But at least there's an illusion that these women have more of the 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 software, that the men are looking for. There's more starting raw material that he can work with. She's not perfect, but she's better than what a lot of women in the West are offering. There's less baggage that he'll have to contend with, because these women abroad, they need an opportunity. We got to talk the truth. Hypergamy is hypergamy, but these women, they're looking, and not everywhere is, you know quote unquote dirty feet people who are in poverty. But you go abroad, your money goes far. We just got to keep it 100 out here, man. Who cares? Everybody wants to be hypergamous. Just because you're in the West, you know you want to be hypergamous as a woman in the West. You're making 20, 30, 40,000 here, so you want a man that makes six figures. Those women out there, maybe they're not making that kind of money, but they still want to be hypergamous. And a guy coming from the West, he can afford them a life that maybe men in her country can't. It just is what it is. You can't really hate on a chick abroad because she wants to upgrade her life. Because you're here in the West with everything at your disposal. Don't you want to upgrade your life too? Don't we all want to upgrade our lives? So we need to stop the cap, man. Stop the cap. Stop getting upset because these women play the game better than you. You should be the one who can play the game the best, because you've got all the freedom at your disposal. But yet you're the one giving the most trouble. Then you still want to cry when you get to 30, 40, 50. Oh, why can't a man marry me? Where have all the good men gone? Well, they're gone abroad. And as I was saying to the Duke last night, and other people have said this, there is no other way to make women wake up, because we cannot, there's no capital or corporal punishment for adult women, which I'm not advocating for, but I'm saying in other countries, the law is on the man's side. So here in the West, the only thing black men can do is walk away. Now, to get back to what Dimitri was saying, you cannot say, oh, the community, and start from the roof instead of the foundation. You know, you know, um, I've got immediate family that once I take care of my household, I can bless with any surplus that I have. Okay, I've got nieces, nephews, siblings, cousins. Well, I haven't got cousins, but well, I have got cousins, but I don't see them. All right, I've got a mom that I could bless, and things like this. So when I have surplus, that's where my surplus needs to go. I cannot take a next person's child and care about that child more than I care about myself. That don't make no sense. Okay? And what we find with this community talk, and this is why, mentoring is not bad, but I don't encourage it per se, not because mentoring is a bad thing, but because at the end of the day, there's no incentive for the individual to do better and make better choices in their own life if the community is going to keep picking up the slack. I'm not saying, you shouldn't get welfare or you shouldn't get help or you shouldn't join programs and things like that. There are lots of people, even married people, who need welfare. But it's like you should be striving to do it right and be self sufficient as best you can. And where there's a shortfall, then we can intervene and help. But with quote unquote community minded people, you often find this in the pro black circles, and this is why Courtney's losing ground now. It's like she's talking all this community talk, but you cannot have a community where you have the women going one side and taking not even their children, just their daughters to one side, and then the men are left, floundering by themselves, and then they're expected to go be great, then they're expected to come back and build for the same group of women who disrespected them. That does not make logical sense. Okay, it doesn't make sense. And that's why Courtney needs to focus on being realistic with women. And it's like, I understand she said, like, Kevin Samuels gave her the okay and the green light, and whatever your mission is, whatever's kind of laid on your heart, kind of thing. And it's like, first and foremost, that's why Kevin got a lot of pushback, because he said people are saying, how can he repackage the same women who are not wife ready, and some of them are not wife worthy, and trying to resell them back to the same group of black men. That was one of the reasons why he got a lot of criticism. But the other thing is this: you cannot build a community when the people who pass down the culture and raise the children are vehemently working against the best interests of the community. And I have to go back to what the funk said. It's not about black men build. It's about, tell your daughter to be the kind of woman that a black man would want, because it's the men who ultimately will do the choosing. So we can't keep saying, oh, but the children, like, with all due respect, F them kids. We gotta say that, Dimitri. I'm sorry. We gotta say that. F them kids. Those are your kids. You know, deal with it. And that sounds harsh, but we gotta talk the truth. You know, I was watching the news the other day, and there's this they're talking about in this impoverished part of the UK. Outside of London, there's a lot of places that are just run down, and they're like, "Oh, we got a baby bank." This is what the news article, the segment was, that this woman felt laid on her heart to start a baby bank. So we got food banks. This place is like formula, diapers, and children's clothes and toys, right? This woman shows up, and you live in a place where there's nothing. Okay, some of these seaside towns and little towns and villages, the only thing that will fix those places is a freaking bomb. Just flatten the place and take out like most of the people and just start again. Someone said to me, you can't put a shopping mall there. I'm like, these people get benefits, bro. That you put a mall there, get some jobs going, do something. But this person was conservative. I don't know what's wrong with that person, but I was like, if I was prime minister, we got to build some shops or something, because these places are dives and there's nothing here. Like, there's no jobs. So obviously there's a lot of problems, right? This woman comes on the TV talking about how hard it is with her 4 kids. And before you start, no, she wasn't black. She was white. Okay. And I'm like, you live in a place where there's no jobs. The place is a complete ish hole. Like, even move. But why did you keep having children if you couldn't support the ones you had? Like, why, Sway? Why? I was with somebody, but they weren't paying attention, so they weren't really grasping what was going on. Yeah, man. Dimitri's like, oh, you can say F the adults, but those are their kids, Dimitri. Those are their children. If they don't care about their own seed, Why should you and me, who don't have those children, care about that seed? Come on, man, we got to talk the truth, man. We got to talk the truth. We got to talk the truth. Because what happens is these individuals don't have a reason to step up and do better, because they know other people, they can play on the emotions of other people in the community. And that's what keeps the cycle of dysfunction going. In other countries, I'm not saying that people don't have kids out of wedlock or what have you, but they understand we've got to sort ourselves out, because there's no safety net called the government, there's no safety net called welfare and the community. you know we can't keep saying, oh, the children, those are your children. If you can't feed the children, if you can't pay for those children, don't have them. That's the responsible thing to do. Or get married and make it work, you with your mediocre salary and the partner with the mediocre salary, and you put it together and you have something. No. Courtney talking about the children, that was a wrong move. I know I rolled on the floor laughing when I saw it for the first time. I'm not even gonna lie. I was spread out on the floor, literal. I was like, well, goddamn. I think about it now and I start laughing. And she's like, oh, it's like, oh, a black woman being vulnerable. No, it's a black woman being a bit silly. That's why people are laughing. I don't know, but all right, maybe they're not laughing. I was laughing. I was laughing. I was rolling on the floor, because you're out here talking about the children, but we can't be out here raising everybody's kids. Those are your kids, raise them. I'm sorry. And it's not to be harsh, but you made them, you got to pay for them. It is what it is. You understand? So, shout out to Freedman's Journalist. Steph Curry is Spinsterville personified. Yeah, and she's starting to feel it. She's only in her late 30s, but she recognizes that, um, and this is one of the reasons why I played the clip that I just played, and I was going to play the thing with Shiza Z, but he really brought home the truth that Steph Cole was like, I'm in my late 30s and I can't be bothered to dress up. When I was younger, I used to make an effort with my appearance, but now I can't be bothered. Sometimes I'm really over the whole thought of having children. And like, late 30s is not old, but at the same time, it's like your hormones have changed. That baby rabies, shift has occurred, where your body was really eager to have children at one point, and as your hormones have changed, your mentality towards changing your life now and bringing in another human being and a family, and you know that phase is waning. So whereas before you used to do your hair, your makeup, and she was like, I'm in this t-shirt 3 days now. Like, I had a shower, but after I had a shower, I put back on the same t-shirt and I'm just comfortable and sloppy. And it's like, wow, yeah, a guy's really looking forward to coming home to that every day. It's like, again, taking it back to Courtney, this is what's out here for men who are in the prime of life. The middle aged man doesn't have to deal with the sloppy 38-year-old. He can go and get that young, vibrant, excited about life, looking forward to having a family, in theory, fertile, whatever, 21-year-old. And so this is why Courtney's position is coming under a lot of scrutiny. She won't accept the men that are attracted to her. Yeah, this is why um, Steph Cole is single, because she felt like she deserved something else. I'll just say that. And after a while, she let every man go instead of trying to make it work. She was excessively picky and very critical, and she felt like she should get more than she was actually getting. And then what happened? Now she's kind of aged out of the dating market, and it's not just that she's aged out per se. is that she also she herself has developed and gone to that spinster type phase where she's just content being a single woman, single and childless and free. Like she's accepted that's her lot, and she's out of the dating game because she can't be bothered. So the window of opportunity has passed. You know, let's get through some of these comments quickly because I need to run. Steph Cole is what happens when you avoid the gym like the plague. My wife was in her 30s, but she had the body of a seasoned seasoned fitness model. Go to the gym. Yeah. I mean, Steph Cole just wasn't prepared to do the work internally, and she was very picky and things like that. And as a result, she ended up missing her window of opportunity, and now she's older, she's realized, oh, I don't have unlimited time to just keep messing about, you know. Celine says women also pass on culture in their respective communities, and that's what I'm saying. um Courtney can't expect black men to fix something that they didn't break per se, because at the end of the day black men come out of black women. A lot of these women like to talk about deadbeat fathers, but that's the guy you picked. I recently saw a clip where I think it was Mr. Let Go, this woman talking about being a single mother while married. And in the comments, it's just full of women saying, yeah, the father of my kids were trash. So we picked the kids up. I picked the kids up and I took them away. And I was like, so basically, you think you're telling on the guy, but you're telling on yourself, because you picked a guy who you claim was trash, but you had his kids. And then when he didn't step up to being what you wanted him to be, then you deprive the kids of their father by taking the kids away. Like, in which universe did all of that make sense? And like the women are like, yeah, I get what you're saying totally. And it's like, how trying to contend with that was a lot. Trying to contend with that was a lot. George Golden said, I saw that interview and the hosts were perplexed. Okay, this thing, I had to make it really small. Let me see if I can open it up. So Arenda says, and Celine, and that's really an issue. Even if you choose to be in a poly relationship or not, we need to be grooming the ladies to be proper wives and ladies instead of being loose and free. And I recently had a conversation with two different women, totally unrelated, right? But two separate conversations. They both have teenage, daughters who are young ladies. One is a bit older than the other. One is actually already an adult, right? And I was like, when they go to university, encourage them to look for husbands. And I got so much pushback. And these are British women. These are not American women that I'm talking to online. These are people I'm talking to face, and I know them personally. And they're like, "No, my daughter needs to make sure she focus on her education, and she needs to make sure she get her certificate. And the most important thing is getting the degree." And I was like, I remember the first time I had a conversation with a black woman, and it was literally like a manosphere trope. It was so surreal. It was crazy. And I was like, no, no, no. She's in the place with the highest concentration of black dudes who are about something. Why are you going to encourage her to waste her youth just getting endless amounts of education to do what with? Like, why? And trying to get them to understand, no, but they need their degree. And they're like, no, they need to find a husband while they're getting a degree. It was like hitting my head on a brick wall. And I was like, I shook my head like, there goes another set of fallen soldiers. Do you know what I mean? Like, these are two women. If they don't get their head right and break free of that programming, they are just going to go down the same road that so many other young girls are going down. Even if they don't end up being like single mothers or in trashy relationships, maybe they'll just be out here like Steph Cole, single and just lost in life, looking at what could have been, but they missed their opportunity. The programming is so deep and it's so pervasive. And again, going back to Courtney, this is why Courtney says the things she says, and she doesn't realize this is why she gets called a chameleon, because the things she says are just, they don't make sense. But the programming is self-serving to women. And when Courtney says think about the children, obviously the mothers benefit. So it's like the dudes see it for what it is, that you want us to save the children, but really you want us to save the women who aren't really worthy of saving. When we just have to let the women who are not about anything just go to the wall, kind of thing, and focus on the next generation. So it's hard. It's hard to get through to her. And if Courtney would just listen, had she listened a long time ago, she wouldn't be caught up in this back and forth now. But it just is what it is. It's opened the dialogue that needed to be. It opened the dialogue that needed to be had. You know, as individuals, we have to take responsibility for ourselves, build our own families and our own networks, and the community would automatically take care of itself. But as long as women are not taking accountability for their own individual actions, the community is always going to be in a downward spiral. So, you know, I appreciate why people like Dimitri and, yeah, we do need to work with the children, but we need to work with the children without the parents being involved per se. And I don't want to sound like a teacher who's kind of like taking over the parental role, but we need to get through to these young people so they don't make the mistakes of older generations, because the older generation is kind of self-serving, and especially the women, they want to gain but they don't want to put anything in. And that's where, again, people like Courtney get pushback. What do men get for their trouble? And the answer is nothing. Communities are made up of strong nuclear family structures. I agree, and we're lacking that in high numbers. And it's because at the end of the day, we don't have women teaching their daughters to be wives. We have a lot of women teaching their daughters to be independent, and then that dysfunction is incentivized by white society. White society props up the foolishness and pays for it, and puts batteries in the backs of black women to be dysfunctional. They're the ones that elevate the Lizzos on our screens. They're the ones that put out propaganda and programs and woman king type movies, and make it seem like this dysfunction is something to be applauded. So it's very hard to convince these young girls that um, down the road you're going to regret the choices you made when you're young, because they see the Vivica Foxes and they see the Fox Soul type women looking like they're having a big life, being jetted out, and they have their own money and a house and everything. But those women are lonely. Those women are miserable. And Steph Cole coming out and saying how she feels, it's a good thing, because hopefully it will wake some of these young women up to realize, you know what, I have a limited window when it comes on to finding a spouse. And as we saw with that lady who said, I don't have a problem attracting a guy, but the moment he finds out I'm 44 years of age, he drops me like a hot potato. You know, it's more than just looks, it's more than just sex. For guys who are looking for long-term committed relationships, a lot of them, they want youthfulness. So yeah, now that I've got that off my chest, I really appreciate everybody who came through. I hope everyone's hit the like button, share the video with somebody who needs to see it. George says, it just hit me. You said Liz Truss stepped down. How long was she PM? I know that's not a job you get at a temp agency. In the UK, it might as well be, because I think they called for her to resign. I just found out myself. Somebody, shout out to Carl McFarlane, you know, he's the one who has all the info right now. Part of being a wife is being virtuous, and either being a virgin or having a very low body count. yes and no. I guess not really. Having a hymen or a low body count doesn't make you a wife. And that's the thing. A wife is a set of duties and responsibilities, and it's an attitude and a mentality. And the thing is this, you got a lot of wife ready women who are old in age. And men are like, you come with all this baggage, you come with all this history, you come with all of these scars and wounds. You're not, maybe you're not as fertile as you used to be. Maybe you've had kids. And so you're bringing a lot to the table that I'm expected to deal with, but I'm not getting the things I really want in return. Okay, so I'm not really gonna. I don't really go in for the whole virginity thing. Not because um not because I don't think virginity is valuable. I do. I always encourage women, especially if you are a virgin, to remain a virgin until you get married, because it's better for you. But the thing is this: if you don't have the qualities of a wife, if there's something wrong with you as a person, you're still not wife ready. Okay, you got a hymen and an unused vagina, but there's still something wrong. Look at that athlete that is in, she's a white lady and she's like a 40-year-old virgin. It's like, I hear that. I hear a woman who's a 40-year-old virgin, and I immediately think, okay, so you're a socially awkward femme cell. There's something wrong with you. Okay, because it's natural for women to want to be sexually active. And you mean to tell me that at 40 you still haven't found somebody? If she wasn't a virgin but she was 40, we would all say, oh, there's something wrong with her. And people are like, oh, she's just quirky, she's this, she's that. No, maybe she's annoying, maybe she's immature, maybe she's unrealistic, or whatever. There's something wrong there. Okay, so yeah, being a wife is virtue. There's virtue, and you know when you walk down the aisle, are people sniggering like, oh, I know what she looks like naked? I understand all of that, but at the same time, it's like, if you don't have the attributes of, if you don't have the attributes of a wife, body count or not, like, no one's gonna sign up for that for life. You know, I'm not cool with um this content creator. I haven't. What? How did that come in the conversation? shout out to shout out to Orenda. Really appreciate you. So Dimitri said, "I see your point. I see your point. Yeah, and I understand. I've got a heart for kids as well. I want to start doing some content talking about you know parenting. I bought some books on child psychology, and I do need to try and read them so we can go through a little bit of a topic here. I wanted to cover some content on adolescence. Like, I got a book here about um, child development during adolescent stage, and we got a lot of parents in the house. They can give um, their input, and it'll be great for us to discuss so that we can have practical tips on what it is to be a parent, what it is to be a wife, what it is to be feminine, and we can get some tangible like structure and move forward, because all this theory online is great, but we need stuff that we can implement in our everyday lives. So it needs to be broken down very simply so we can understand it and just put it into practice so that it becomes a part of us. But I have to get off my backside and do that. Do you understand? But yeah, I have a heart for the children as well. But at the same time, you can't have a heart for the children more than the people who created those children. Okay? Yeah, older women will have to be careful because these guys just want a quick roll in the hay. Exactly. And, it's sad, but these men will say, oh, we like you, we love you, we care about you. And they just see that these women are mature and maybe a little bit, not to say desperate in a bad way. Women in general, however, from what I've heard from some women in this case, yeah, not all. I think whether or not um Whether or not are people able to abandon the mothers in good conscience is a worthy question. Um, Again, it's like the women are choosing to be abandoned because they're picking men who don't even want children to have children for them. This is the problem. Yeah, if you're having children for a man who doesn't want kids, you're choosing to be abandoned because he's gonna let you down sooner or later. So Celine said, a gentleman I've been speaking to told him I'm a virgin at 22 and I want to be married. And what did he say? Because there was a time where if a woman was a virgin, guys wouldn't even really approach her because they're like, oh, she's clingy. That was a time when virginity was really prized, and women were like, I want to give it to somebody special. So if I give it to you, you better be special and you better treat me special. And so guys were like, oh, she's going to get clingy. She's going to want a relationship, which I don't really want. So I would rather deal with a chick that, has been around the block a few times, and she knows it's fun and I know it's fun, and that's it. But now it's like dudes don't value virginity, women don't value virginity. Like, I don't know what to say with that. So if he respects, if that guy is pressuring you into anything, not Celine but in general, a person who cares about you is not going to pressure you to do something that goes against what you personally believe. So whoever it is and whatever it is, you know, you gotta vet the person. As the question was, is it okay to date multiple people? Well, what kind of questions are you asking? Are you asking like, what's your favorite video game? Or are you asking like, so where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you want kids? What's your religious beliefs? What's your political beliefs? What's your stance on this, that, and the other? When we get married, where we're gonna live? Do you believe in spanking and things like that? These are the kind of questions, whether you're talking to one person or multiple people, that need to be asked, so that when you get into the situation, you know who you're dealing with, at least in theory. So, with that being said, I really appreciate everybody who came through. Yeah, people are lectured not to slut shame. However, we think nothing about prude shaming. Agreed. If that person doesn't respect your beliefs, he or she doesn't respect you. And at first, you might put up with that BS, but after a while, that's going to grate on you. It's going to wear you down. It's going to make you a shell of a person, and it could even be abuse. So, well, it is abuse. Okay, a person who disrespects your boundaries, that is a form of abuse. So I really appreciate everyone who came through. Shout out to all the new subscribers, everyone who hit the like button, the dislike button, who didn't hit any button. It doesn't matter. You were here. Give it a big like, and I will catch you guys in the next one. So what am I supposed to say? Hit the like button, share the video with somebody who needs to see it. Click that notification bell, and let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Wait, I hate this outro. I'm really sorry. I need to delete this. I hate this outro so much. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.